programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Force our mandate. Alam mo itong nagbibigay ng mga public services, you better improve. Huwag naman ninyo kaming pahintayin 10 taon bago kami makakamit ng mga services that the other countries are enjoying. If it's just a question of added capitalization or the infusion of money, go and look for it. Maghanap kayo, because if you are not ready to improve, I might just as well close all of you and we revert back to the line telephone. At kukunin ko yan, i-expropriate ko sa gobyerno. Alam mo itong, I'll be straight, smart, pati itong globe, ilang taon na ito? At ang sagot palagi sa akin, the party cannot be rich. Nasaan pala pumunta yung yawa na yun? Kung ganun lang naman ibigay ninyo sa amin, we are a republic, a sovereign country. Bear that in mind, because the patience of the Filipino people is reaching its limit. At I will be the one to articulate the anger of the Filipino people. And you might not want what I intend to do with you. Kindly improve the services before December. I want to call Jesus Christ to Bethlehem. Better have that line cleared. Alam, sa totoo ng adre na po, ano ako sa inyo. I have been a citizen of this country and parang nilalaro lang ninyong, kayong may pera. Puta. May pera kayo? Negosyo kayo. Wala kayong pera, putang, umalis kayo dito. You give us half bills, half cooked transactions, lousy service. Tapos ang tao nagbabayad. Tell us now if you cannot really improve on it, because I will work by December. I have 2 years. The next 2 years will be spent improving the telecommunications of this country. Without you, I will find a way. I will talk to Congress and find a way how to do it. Last year, I said that distributing economic business activities is imperative to our country's sustained and equitable growth. Today, I reiterate that statement. I issued Administrative Order Number 18, directing concerned agencies to strengthen the development of special economic zones in areas outside Metro Manila. I also issued Executive Order Number the same, 114, to institutionalize the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. This consolidates and refocuses existing economic and social welfare programs, activities, and projects toward the countryside. It is also an international agency council headed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medaldia, which will create a framework for the effective implementation of the project. Kung hindi ninyo ako naiintindihan sa sinabasa ko, mas lalo ako. In 2021, we aim to increase access to healthcare services by continuously hiring and deploying more than 20,000 health professionals. This will augment health workforce in LGUs, particularly in isolated and disadvantaged areas. We will implement projects to establish and improve barangay health stations, rural health units, and other healthcare facilities. And we will need to address internal security. We are pursuing a whole-of-the-nation approach to bring peace and order, development in the countryside. We need to provide intervention and implement the Barangay Development Program. This will provide cleared and threatened communities. This refers to a program where the armed forces would play a vital role in the one nation approach. This is what it's meant by this. And that every agency of the government, including the armed forces of the Philippines, should participate. And I am aware of the skirmishes and the assassination of our soldiers. And I said, correct this so that we can proceed with the barangay implementation as fast as possible. We have made significant strides in the past 4 years, but we need the support of local government leaders. We need your help to implement the Barangay Development Program. Certain sectors expressed concern when I declared martial law in Mindanao and its extension 3 times. But 2019 ended without my office requesting any further extension. Martial law in Mindanao ended without abuses by the civilian sector, by the police, by the military. It ended because this time I know that they know how to love the country. I thank Congress for the support to these administration programs. Congress has been very productive, but much more remains to be done. You know, actually, my speech, if we followed it carefully, it's all a plea to Congress to do this, to do that, to make a law or craft a whatever. On this one, I strongly urge Congress to pass a law establishing the Department of Overseas Filipinos solely on addressing the concerns of Filipinos abroad and their families. I reiterate this swift passage before this. Kawawa kasi itong ating mga overseas. If it's only an office there in the Labor Department, they are overworked or for whatever reason, their needs, their pleas are not really attended to with dispatch. and with care. Yung OFW, pati itong ano ngayon, ito yung sinabi ko kanina, I will go for it. We will need it to help them. I reiterate the swift passage of a law reviving the death penalty by lethal injection for crimes specified under the Comprehensive Dangerous Act of 2002. I did not hear so much clapping, so I presume that they are not interested. Wala kang... Someday I'll tell you the story of what happened to the Philippines. Hindi ngayon. But when sabihin ko sa inyo ang totoo, bakit nagaganito yung droga ng Pilipinas? Why the drug syndicates continue to operate just like the countries of Colombia, Mexico, and it is being played inside the national penitentiaries. Para tayong talagang binababoy tayo. Sabihin ko sa inyo. But this is not a time for storytelling. Sona kasi ito. So, dito na. This law will not only help us deter criminality, but also save our children from the dangers posed by the illegal and dangerous drugs. May I be allowed with the indulgence of the body? Itong bakit talaga ako galit sa droga. Let us make this a semi-formal speech. Alam mo kasi, 5 pamilya members, o 6 or 7, pagka bumagsak yung tatay to drugs, the family crumbles. There's no more home to. Druga, and if he's receiving his salary, nagtatrabaho sa pantalan, 300 a day. Tapos ang shabu is sold at 2. He has about 100 to bring home. Kaya pagka gano'n, nag-aaway-aaway na. Ang mga bata hindi nakapag-aral. Ang iba, ligaw na. Mga babae into early prostitution. Kung ano-ano nangyari. Hindi lang alam nitong mga na this is happening all over the country every day. And what is really very tragic is this. When the family starts to crumble, there's no more family home. And invariably, the wife would look for another husband, would look for a job, usually, easily, doon sa abroad. At yung asawa, aalis, yung lalaki na sa droga, yung mga anak iniiwan sa kapitbahay, sa kapatid. And the ferocity of the loss of the Filipino family home has been destroyed. Kaya kung anong mangyari nito, the wife works in the Middle East. I am not zeroing on any particular country, mind you. But alam natin, there are tribes in the Middle East which would allow rape as part of the territory of being a house help. Kasama yan. Kasama talaga yan. So yan ang mahirap dyan. You have a wife there being crucified, being used, magpadala ng pera, tapos ang mga anak, asan nasa Cebu na rin. Kasi these are the guys that the Cebu people would really, stick by them until it crumbles, the resistance. And then you have plenty of this all over the country. Hindi lang nila alam. Yung sinasabi nila ng misery sa itong human rights, plus 10 yan. Not to count the victims of crimes perpetrated by people addicted to Cebu. That is the reason why I'm so vicious in my galit talaga ako. Kasi nilalaroan tayo. Well, I don't know. Any other president might, pero ako ayaw kong lalaroan ng Pilipino. Do not do it in my country because I will really kill you. That is a commitment. Owning safe, decent, and affordable housing is every Filipino's dream. But the housing market remains inaccessible to most of our countrymen. I renew my call for Congress to pass the National Housing Development Bill and the Rental Housing Subsidy Bill. These will enable all Filipinos, regardless of social status, to live in decent homes where their families can lead meaningful lives. I also call on Congress to amend Republic Act number 10912 for the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. In this time of great pandemic and forthcoming reconstruction, requiring professionals to undergo seminars is burdensome and not realistic. This must end. Ito pang isa. May mga profession. Singit ko na lang lahat to tell this is to inform the nation. May mga profession na they would require, I think it's the nicest, they would require them to come to Manila to retrain and for another round of expenses. Itong mga seminar na ito, dapat mahinto. I don't know in other provinces, but during my time itong sa barangay expeditions ng mga opisyal, hininto ko rin yan. And which reminds me, I will act on this also due time. We hail our health professionals as heroes. Now is the time to pass the Advanced Nursing Education Act and the law instituting the Medical Reserve Corps. COVID-19 will not only be the last pandemic. We need to create National Disease Prevention Management Authority to better respond to future outbreaks. We count on Congress to full support. You can just let it remain for a while in the Department of Health kung wala pang pera, but you have to expand the services. It would also entail a little bit of money, but not really as much as expensive when you set up a department. In the long term, we are looking into the creation of the National Disease Prevention and Management Authority to better prepare for the pandemics, protect lives, and allow development to proceed even in the worst of times. We are counting on the full support of Congress for this critical, important endeavor. I don't know, but I leave it to Congress to really. It's another department. There seems that it could be a multi-layer, redundant thing between the health and the proposed department. I call on Congress to prioritize the passage of a law for the unified system of separation, retirement, and pension, and of the military and uniformed personnel, without, however, diminishing the benefits that our uniformed personnel are entitled to under existing laws. There is a need to adjust the pension system, which will be applicable only to the newly hired uniformed personnel, so as not to cause a ballooning effect against the budget of the military in the years to come, and yet maintain the pension benefits those already in service under the present law. This issue needs a solution now. Umpisahan natin ngayon para hindi na maging problema sa sunod na mga taon. I want to, one of the, this is not politicking, I am not running, I cannot run anymore. Yung dinoble ko yung sweldo ng police pati army, it was really a clarion call para for them also to have a decent life, and that they're able to get the things which ordinarily cannot be reached by any government employee. Ang akin doon is yung corruption. That maybe it might be a vain attempt, but maybe dagdagan ng sweldo para it would be a hedge against corruption. We must also modernize the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Immigration with urgency. Alam mo, sa Davao, and if you go there, I can show you. One of the serviceable trucks, fire trucks, that we have in the city of Davao. Of course, ang city meron ng sarili, aside from the Bureau of Fire, which is really national. Meron yung Bureau of Fire, would you believe it, serviceable still. Ang pangalan ng truck is Studebaker. Ang katawan, ang talagang matatag ang katawan. Kaya ang makina isuso. Pero okay pa rin. It can put out. But, totoo. This is how this Bureau of Fire issue medyo na overlook natin ng matagal. I emphasize the creation of the Department of Disaster Resilience and our people's safety, which cannot be delegated to any council or commission. Equally important is the establishment of evacuation center in every city, province, municipality throughout the country. We must act before another major disaster shakes into action. Problem is, disaster, and even a fire, this cannot be this cannot be made a study for projection when the earthquake would suddenly come and make a big crack there. Hindi natin alam talaga. Ang ibig kong sabihin, this will require more than just one brain work kung paano talaga itong how to prevent or avoid disaster. It would be, by the way, just before starting, I was tempted to say it, pero baka magtindigan kayo. It will be all right for me if Bongo will just stay. Wala akong problema. Sabi ko na this piece of speech of mine would be one of the longest sonas that I will deliver. Nakita ko yung page pagbigay sa akin. Yung ibang input akin. Pati yung iba lahat. Ang nangyari po, binalik ko sa kanila. Make it short. Pagbalik sa akin, mas makapal na. Ako, putangin. Nandyan na ngayon. Ito na ngayon. The responsible extraction and equitable distribution of natural resources remain among my non-negotiables. I reiterate the need for the passage of the National Land Use Act, which has been pending for decades. Pakisilip lang ho ninyo yan. For the rest of my term, I hope to see concerted efforts in protecting the environment. The rehabilitation of Boracay Island showcased our resolve to safeguard the environment. Boracay is doing well because of its scenery. If it's only a coconut and a black sand, white sand and water, wala yan. Pero you add the visitors there, then it becomes a very tempting destination. We have seen remarkable emergence of the island back to its former glory. I want this sustained. I ask Congress to enact a law creating, importante ito, the Boracay Island Authority, or BIDA. We need it. I cannot stress enough the importance of agriculture. The growth of our economy depends on a robust agricultural sector. We must utilize the coconut, we must utilize the coconut levy for the welfare of our coconut farmers and the development of our coconut industry. I urge everybody, both of the executive department, pati ito, that ito yung pera na nakuha doon sa sequester, and itong perang malaking ito, gagamitin ito for the welfare of the farmers. The problem is, we can no longer trace who are the farmers of yesterday. Marcos is a distant star. We do not know. Ako alam ko because we had a little piece also that was covered by the land reform. Hindi na natin malaman kung sino ang may-ari. So I think Congress should look again and try to sort out how best the money can be utilized. I will not make any suggestion, but I leave it to Congress to decide what to do with it. I once again urge both houses of Congress to pass a version of the bill establishing the Coconut Farmers Trust Fund. Tulungan natin ang ating mga magsasaka pagka hindi mawawala yung pera, bilyon yan. Diyos ko po. Well, anyway, we have learned so many lessons along the way. I am also requesting Congress to pass the Rural, Agricultural, and Fisheries Development Financing System Act. We aim to provide adequate, accessible, and affordable food for every Filipino through the Plant program. After the build, I think this is easier to achieve. A few good men, few good regional directors at DAR, and dedicated workers down below could make this thing a success. Mas madali ito kaysa build. Ito plant lang. It is more of how you try to convince the farmers to cooperate government for their benefit. This 66 billion agricultural stimulus package will help the agricultural and fisheries sector recover. I hope so. We need to build trust and confidence in online transactions, stronger protection on online consumers, and enabling measures for online business when needed through the enactment of an Internet Transaction Act. This is very good. I thus direct the Department of Trade and Industry and other relevant agencies to work on it closely with Congress, ensuring that the provisions of the proposed bill are responsive to the needs of the consumers while promoting the growth of e-commerce in the country. If you are tired of clapping, you just say so I can make a shortcut. Pabilisan lang yun. On the path of better governance, we travel with other partners, both old and new, have helped bolstering the antiquated public health system, for bringing home or laid off Filipinos overseas, for filling in supply gaps for crucial medical supplies and equipment and staple food. For these and many more, the Philippines thanks all friendly nations. We will never forget your kindness and your timely support. Within ASEAN and beyond the Philippines, we will continue to work with partners to address global perils and ramp up cooperation to secure for our peoples greater peace, progress, and prosperity. The Filipino nation claims its rightful place in a community of sovereign states. Thus, we will continue to pursue an independent foreign policy. Let me be very clear about this. May I cut my prepared speech? Alam mo, I read a little over 3 weeks or last month na the Americans intends to go back to Subic. I'll just put on record my thoughts. I have nothing against America. I have nothing against China. But if you put bases here, you double the spectacle of a most destructive thing. Just like Manila during the Second World War, during the retaking of this city, it was one of the most devastated cities in the world. Ay ang maglagay-lagay ka ng base at this time. This will ensure if war breaks out, because there would be atomic arsenals brought in. This will ensure the extinction of the Filipino race. We work without fail to protect our rights in the South China Sea, neither beholden nor a pawn to anyone. We broaden the boundaries of Philippine diplomacy. We build productive ties with everyone willing to engage us on the basis of equality and mutual respect. And we redefined our relationships with our most important partners, placing the country in a far better position to advance our interests in an evolving regional order and emerging global problems. Now, plenty of critics, both sides, claim about nothing has been done to retake forcefully or physically the South China Sea. Alam mo, unless we are prepared to go to war, I would suggest that we better just call off and treat this, I said, with the diplomatic endeavors. China is claiming it. We are claiming it. China has the arms. We do not have it. So, it's simple as that. They are in possession of the property. You remember property, you're a lawyer, property rights. They are, it has nothing to do with the Philippine laws on property. But it's akin to, they are in possession. So what can we do? We have to go to war. And I cannot afford it. Maybe some other president can, but I cannot. Inutil ako dyan, sabihin ko sa inyo. And I'm willing to admit it. Talagang inutil ako dyan. Walang magawa. I cannot. The moment I send my Marines there at the coastal shores of Palawan, tinamaan ng cruise missile lahat yan. Hindi pa nga set sail yan eh. Sabog na. Let me see again that the victory in a global battle against COVID-19 would take longer than we expect. Everyone's cooperation is needed. I know that you have, the Filipino people, have sacrificed a lot, but we have no other choice but to work together and to do even more. I must admit that our actions have been far from perfect. Totoo yan. I admit it. And there could be improvements here and there. But all of us in government, including myself, assure you that we will not stop until we get things right and better for you. I know that many of you are worried not only about health and safety, but also about our ability to move around and ride public transportation. The depletion of your savings due to the rising cost of goods and the loss of your incomes due to uncertainties in your jobs and livelihood, I assure you that your government will address squarely these problems and challenges to overcome them and proceed to a new normal. Marami ho talagang mawawalaan ng those for a middle income. They buy a car on installment basis. You cannot keep up with the amortization. You lose it. You lose the car. And you are forced to ride on public utilities. Concomitantly, didiretso rin itong mga kriminal na rarami at crimes will increase. But let me assure you, for as long as I am president, there can never be a runaway crime in any of our cities. Hindi ako papayag na ganun. I can assure you, we will remain peaceful. Relatively peaceful. Hindi naman very peaceful. Pero kung sabihin mo na kagaya ng hold up dito, hold up, alam naman nila kung anong mangyari. You know what will happen to you. I am addressing myself to the criminals. You commit hold-ups, you commit rape, you commit all sorts of things, and you harm the public, then kaaway mo na ako. Pag bumalik kayo sa dati, kagaya noon, patong-patong na naman ang patay dito. Sigurado, hahanapin ko kayo. Do not ever go back to your old ways. Maghanap na lang kayo ng anong trabaho dyan. Magtiis kayo. To open up the economy to pre-COVID-19 levels at this time is not an option because whatever good it can produce will only be gobbled up or be outweighed by the bad it will generate sometimes. Haste makes waste. The recent upsurge of infection, when you open little windows of resumption of business, is proof of that. I am happy that I have talked to you today. You know, in other places, they opened up too early, too soon. America is one. China, well, fortunately, it was arrested on time. China and the rest, for those who open up, and those who do not follow the protocols of at least the World Health Organization, they are suffering. And they have at least 140 deaths. And America, kukulang sila lahat. No nation on earth was really prepared for COVID. No amount of preparation because that kind of microbes visits about once every 100 years. Wala man yung mga tatay natin. What they suffered was Second World War. But tayo, we are not ready and therefore we will not gamble with the lives and health of the people. Certainly no one would want to end up in the negative side of the equation. Not me, not us. All I ask is that you continue to put your faith in your government and work with us in achieving what is best for the country and our people. Together, let us do Mahirap basahin kasi dito. The most that we can to ensure that is health, safety, and well-being of every Filipino, especially those severely affected, are taken care of. Together, we shall fight this pandemic with the same fervor as our campaign against illegal drugs, criminality, insurgency, and corruption in high places, and entrenched parochial interests. As a government worker, I am addressing each and every Filipino that the government cannot do this without your help. More than ever, we need to reinvigorate the deep-seated Filipino spirit of pakisama and malasakit within each and every one of us. We are being tested as a people and as a nation. Worse times loom ahead, but I do hope that this spirit of solidarity and unity will serve as a drumbeat to which we shall march in unison in our quest for the light at the end of the tunnel. I appeal to each and every Filipino, let us take care of one another. Ito ang panahon para magtulungan, hindi panahon para mamang dila ko. Hindi maglamang at pagkakaisa. My faith in the Filipino innate patience, resilience, and determination to bounce back is unwavering. Let us share our blessings with those who have little and those who have none. This is the time to bring out the best in us. The woes that weigh heavily on our shoulders may bend our back, but they shall not bend or break our spirit. From the rubbles of adversity, a more resilient and stronger nation, built on bayanihan and pagkakaisa, shall rise. Together, we shall overcome. Before I pardon the time, but it was really the allotted time for my speech, I would just like to give a statement between us sa gobyerno kung hindi tayo nakakaintindihan. You know, Drilon extended, he was defending. I would like to ask Drilon, were you a part of Accra when this contract of Ayala Water was being drafted? And why are you fumigating? Bakit kasi ikaw lang ang galit? Nasabi mo na dynasty. You are a hypocrite. You know that you cannot pass an anti-dynasty law. Ikaw nandyan sa Congress, ikaw ang mauna dito. But you know, to take it against me for protecting my country is something which I really resent. Alam mo, you describe using the dictionary the synonym ng mga oligarchy, kung ano. Then you proceeded to characterize everyone, every name, and then said that oligarchy is not bad at all because not all oligarchies are bad. True. But ito, to my countrymen, the oligarchy that exists in this country is the oligarchy that existed during the Spanish time. And the Spanish lands and the friar lands and all the benefits that were passed on to the insulares who did not go back to Spain, or to the Spaniards and into their. But that was long ago. It has been forgotten. This is the oligarchy that controls the Philippines. By what? By taking control of the water and the electricity and power. Yan ang oligarchy mo, Drilon. Wala nang oligarchy dito except that they have control. Look at how can you now craft a new contract? Because I would insist that you pay the billions and billions that you collected. For example, water treatment. Oh, nandyan sa kontrata. It's in the billing. They've been collected. Since 1997. Ilang bilyon na nga, wala ni isa. Not even a faucet was built for a water treatment facility. Yan ang mahirap sa, you do not protect the oligarchs here. You are the one. Ikaw lang mag-isa. And I suspect that you were also the one or help when you were there in the Accra. We do not even know ang mga abogado sa public documents. Hindi nga alam. Hindi natin alam kung nakagraduate ba o hindi. Wala. Would you think Ayala would get the services of those? Ayala got Accra. Accra did it. Ikaw galing ka doon. Most of you, more successful lawyers sa corporation. You handle big corporate. Yan ang mahirap. O, bangga tayo dito. Hinawakan ninyo eh. Hindi ka pwede kayo. Kita mo, noong nag-increase, walang tubig, pinuputol yung tubig. Ang tao, bumigay kasi hindi pwede yung tayo hindi maligo. Hindi uminom. Electricity, ayaw mo mag-increase. O ayan, wala ka. Palaging brown out lahat. I'm sorry but I have to say this to you. I do not like it. It's not the time for it. But since it is the time for the Sona, for people to know and people to really get the facts, then, and the right of the people to be heard. Tayo na naman ang tao magsano. Hinawakan ninyo yung tubig pati electricity. Yun ang oligarchy. Kaya ako sinabi ko noong kumpanya, corruption is not here. Yung mga customs, maliit yan. It's there upstairs. And I was really unprovidential. Dumating yung panahon na hindi ko hiningi. Then I saw the contract. Noong nakita ko yung contract na, tsaka yung linya na yung choice, yung linya ng it belongs to government. The best of the transmission lines, whatever, government gets it first before anybody else. Thank you. I am through.